All right, let's go ahead and recap Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals as the San Antonio Spurs have forced a Game 7, beating Oklahoma City 119-91. And I felt like there wasn't really much of a game. I kind of missed most of that first half a little bit because I was out golfing with my brother and a family friend. But, kind of looking at the box score here, if I'm being completely honest. But watching most of that second half, the San Antonio Spurs just kind of just grabbed the game and just never looked back. After they took a big lead, they never looked back, and they kind of just took control of the game afterwards. Because you had Victor, who had a better game performance-wise. He was 10 of 21 for 28 points. He was 4 for 9 from 3. He had 10 rebounds. He had, 3 blocks. So that's kind of like a typical Victor Wembanyama game we kind of expect. And obviously he didn't even play the entire game because it was such of a blowout. Then you had key contributors. I mean, obviously DeAndre, Fox. Obviously you can't have that for the next game they play. 26 minutes, 5 points, 1 for 9. You can't have that. But all the other people performed, well for them. So no, not a whole lot of worries there because, Stephon Castle, he played pretty well. Champagne played pretty solid. And then you also had, Dylan Harper played pretty well. But, for OKC's sake, you're gonna need a little bit more of – you're just going to have to shoot the ball better because, you shot 37% from the field and you shot 25% from 3. You go 10 for 40. If you, make at least, 15 or 17, I feel like this game might be a little bit closer. It's not a 27-point game. So I just, even if, Shea, because Shea only played for about 28 minutes and he only scored 15. He was 6 for 18. Obviously, you don't really expect that out of the MVP. And Lou Dort was 2 for 11. That's not gonna win you games. He was 1 for 9 from 3. And then Jared McCain was 4 of 11. Then you had Chet Holmgren. He was okay. At least he was 4 for 8. And then Isaiah Hartenstein, he was 5 for 10. And then, the bench-wise, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of bench contributor besides Carson Wallace. He had 11 points, but, everybody else had just, 4, 7, 7, 3, 5, 1. Now, granted, these are a lot of the guys that typically don't play a whole lot, but, I guess besides the, Aaron Wiggins and Nikola Topic aren't usually the ones that play a whole lot. But, OKC usually plays pretty go deep in their bench, but we did see the return of Jalen Williams in the game, but he didn't really play a whole lot just because he was coming back from a hamstring. And obviously, I feel like if he was ready, if he was even available to play, I feel like you would have maybe hold him back for Game 7 just in case if this scenario was going to happen, which obviously it did. You got yourself into a Game 7, and he only played 10 minutes, so maybe he'll be a little bit more fresher to play. And look, I understand he only played 10 minutes, but you can't only shoot the ball one time. I feel like if you're gonna play 10 minutes, you gotta at least take maybe 3 shots. The player that he is, but I understand that he's coming back from injury and all that other stuff. But I feel like you should have expect a little bit more out of him. So if I had a vote, let's just kind of do a little voting. So whoever wins this series, let's pick on who's going to be the MVPs of this series. If Oklahoma City wins, I think it's obviously going to be Alex Caruso. If it's going to be San Antonio, you would think Victor Wembanyama is probably going to win the MVP, but I feel like after that Game 5 performance, I don't know. But yet again, let's just say he has another spectacular game like he had in Game 1. We haven't really seen him do that in this series at all. Have another spectacular 40-point game. Now, granted, you're not going to get a 40-point game out of Victor Wembanyama all the time, but, you can maybe get out of him once in a while, and obviously this is the moment for Game 7 to have another moment like that in Game 1 where you go off for 40 and you make ridiculous shots. But I would say probably, I guess, maybe you can make a case. Maybe you could make a case for Dylan Harper to be MVP, but most likely it would have to be Victor. But there isn't a whole lot of candidates for the Spurs unless somebody out there can make a case for somebody to be the MVP. But yeah, other than Victor Wembanyama. But an OKC case, it's probably going to be probably Alex Caruso for it was Game 3 or Game, no, I think it was Game 3, and all the defense he's done, all the defensive plays he's made so far for them has been worthy to be an MVP for this series. So then obviously if you don't pick him, I would probably go with either SGA or even Jared McCain. Low-key could be is it the Magic Johnson MVP award, I think, for the Western Conference Finals? But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it for this game because there isn't really much else to talk about besides, as we now are going to go into Game 7 here. And also we can, kind of preview Game 7, but like that can probably be for another episode. But yeah, that's all I can think about here right now because obviously Game 7 will now be on Saturday. And that's pretty much all I had for this game because like I obviously going into this game, San Antonio was kind of the desperate team because obviously their season was on the line. If they lost this game, the season's over, yada, yada, yada. And Oklahoma City at least had the advantage. If they lost this game, they can go back home for Game 7 and win there. But you never know in a Game 7 like setting. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how this outcome's going to come on Saturday. I can't wait. Can't wait for it. And we all kind of expected it most likely this series to go 7. And if you're the New York Knicks, you'll love to see that it's going down to a Game 7 now on Saturday. So we'll have to wait and see on who the New York Knicks are going to face in the NBA Finals as we wait until Saturday to have a winner. All right, let's go ahead okay, so I originally did an intro and all that, because what you're about to hear is going to be the original intro for this episode, but I decided to put the recap of Game 6 right before the original episode or the original intro/episode. So you're going to get all the stuff I recorded earlier from today where I'm going to be sitting outside wearing a Lakers jersey. But anyways, so yeah, that's pretty much it for Game 6. I'm going to go ahead and now kick it to myself from earlier today.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
On today's episode of the Tweet Show podcast, we're going to talk about everything that I sort of missed, not even able to talk about. And I hate not doing podcasts and not being able to, get things off my mind. But I was going to take like a small, tiny break just because of school. I was going to focus on that for about a week. And then I don't know what happened. I think it was mainly because of work and then some other things that were happening. I kind of lost track. And then obviously here we are, May 28th, and I'm finally getting back to podcasting and recording episodes. And like I said, I generally do not like it when I take these long hiatus of not publishing any type of content and not being able to getting my takes out there and having stuff like this out there. But it is what it is. But hopefully with with me doing episodes again, maybe I won't take as long as hiatus breaks. And it is now the summertime and there are things to be talked about. So yeah, I'm excited to get back on the horse here and do some more podcasting. But like I said, because like the final, like school wise, it was getting towards the end of the semester and we were just about to do our final exams and stuff. Well, actually, now that I think about it, I don't know why, because like we still had a month before that happened. But I think there were some other things that were kind of going on in my life. But so yeah. Anywho, I'm back. Hopefully there won't be another long hiatus like it was this time. Doing nearly like a near 2 months without posting a podcast or anything like that. So, and you're probably, if you're happen to be watching this on the YouTube channel, you're probably wondering, nice little new setup you got here. Well, I currently am recording this on a back patio at someone's house, watching their dog for them. So it is pretty nice out today, I will say. Really nice out today. A little breeze in the 80s. Wearing my Lakers jersey, even though I'm not even a Lakers fan. But I have this Lakers jersey, as you can see on the YouTube thing, or on the YouTube channel, or YouTube. You're probably wondering, is that a DeAndre Jordan or Aiden jersey? No, it's not a DeAndre Aiden jersey. You would be mistaking yourself. This, my friends, is a Taylor Horn Tucker's Lakers jersey that I bought a long time ago when he was on the Lakers. So I still have it. It still fits. It's good to see that it still fits me. it makes me look a little muscular with how tight it is, kind of. I mean, it's not too tight, but it's making me, a little buff, even though I'm not that buff anymore. And I probably, I've thought about getting back in the gym. I really should. I've been having the thoughts of getting back to the gym and maybe getting some type of gym membership or something like that, or hitting the gym. But I feel like I gotta get more motivated. I feel like to get in the gym. But I have noticed it doing some of my arms and all that. I'm like, I should probably work out just a little bit more, right? I should at least be able to pump up some irons and not be, because I don't know what I was doing, but I feel like I was lifting something and I was like, God, I'm not as strong as I used to be. So I feel like I should go ahead and fix that problem, do some more lifting and all that. And I feel like this is the summer of Chandler. This is summer of Chan. I'm gonna work out more. Probably won't actually happen. But I'm gonna say that I will. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna do some more golfing. I'm gonna go out more. Go on vacations. And I'm telling you, this is gonna be the summer of Chan. This is my summer. I'm gonna conquer the summer. I'm gonna conquer it. So yeah, I'm excited about this summer. I'm not gonna lie. As we are approaching June. All right. What else there? All right. So should we talk sports now? Now we got I got these darn dogs walking around me now. Darn near tripped my cord to the microphone. I don't know what they're doing now. They're just kind of just following each other and walking around in circles on this deck. Anywho, all right. Should we talk sports? All right. Because last time I recorded a podcast, I was basically talking about the Masters, and I missed the recapping that to talk about how Rory won back-to-back Masters championships. Forgot to talk about that. And then I was going to maybe start doing some more recaps of every NBA playoff series. But here's kind of the main reason why I haven't been able to do a lot of the, podcasting / recapping of playoff series. It's just, I just feel weird having to record things at my folks' house sometimes when they're there and it's late and I don't want to kind of record, but and they're unlikely to hear me going down to the basement and doing all this. But I don't know, I just don't like the idea of I'm just weirded out by it. I don't know why. It's just a me thing. Don't know why. Maybe just gotta be a little more encouraged to actually just go down to the basement and just record something and not just worry about. I don't think what I'm feeling would be. I just feel weird about it. I wouldn't say embarrassed. I don't think I would feel embarrassed. I shouldn't feel embarrassed about recording a podcast at night when my folks are trying to sleep or anything like that. Like I said, I'm not going to make any loud noises or anything like that. But I also kind of, when I do late session pods, I feel like I'm kind of tired. Just want to lay in bed and watch something on Netflix or YouTube. But yeah. So hopefully this summer I'll be more consistent about putting out some more content for sure. Because like I said, I have some ideas about making some new content with this channel, so maybe putting out some more golf content out there for you as I continue on my journey to not suck as much as I do right now in golf. I feel like we're making some progress. Don't get me wrong, I still suck, and I probably need to take actual lessons on how to not to suck. But I feel like I have the sort of the swings down. I just need to either kind of do the open club, closed club, some type of how to hit the ball a certain way, or swing the club a certain way or something like that, whatever golf term you want to use. But either way, I'm excited about getting out to the golf courses this summer and seeing how good or how bad I will be, because there are times when I get out there on the course, I feel like I'm doing pretty well. There are certain holes where I go, okay, that wasn't a bad hole. There was a couple shots I would have loved to have back, but otherwise I feel like I'm not doing too bad. But there are other times where I'm just that was such a fucking bad hole. I don't know why I play this stupid sport anyways. But then, I don't know, I'm kind of addicted to it now. I'm getting pretty close to almost every night watching some type of golf lesson thing on YouTube or something like that. Almost every night. Or I'm always on my Instagram or TikTok feeds of just people of just golf content all the time. Just I'm getting pretty addicted to the golf here. So let's see. Anything else? I don't remember the first thing I was even talking about. Oh, I was talking about the Masters, and the last time I recorded a pod. Jeez, I guess I was talking about golf. So I was like, how did I get from talking about my golf content to the Masters? Because I was talking about golf. That makes sense. Anyways, let's talk NBA. Let's talk NBA, because now we're in the the conference finals for both respected East and West. The East is over as the Knicks, after 27 years, finally back in the NBA Finals behind Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, Malik Bridges, and all them cats over there in New York. The New York Knicks have dominated the East so far. As a guy who isn't necessarily a fan of the New York Knicks, like, I don't necessarily hate any of the players. I just don't like the Knicks in general. I do like Jalen Brunson. I'm not a fan of some of the, kind of the flopping, I should say, of his game sometimes, but I don't think he's that bad. Like some other player that we're going to talk about here in just a moment. But the Knicks, I will give them credit. I do think they are playing some really good basketball. I don't like him that they're in the NBA Finals, but I'm going to give them props and say, they've been the best team in the East, even though I think if the Pacers were fully healthy, I do think the Pacers could have given them a run for their money, and that would have been an epic series. But the Cleveland Cavaliers simply just weren't good enough. And James Harden in the playoffs, once again, comes up a bit short, and now the talk around Cleveland and the Cavaliers is LeBron going to come back? Is LeBron going to be a Cavalier again for one last time? LeBron has come out and said he's going to just take his time. He might not make a decision until like August. But Brian Windhorst kind of said, hey, he's like, that's a lie. He's going to make a decision sooner rather than later because the Lakers have to know if he's going to play next year or not. But yeah, again, LeBron has every right to make a decision when he wants to because obviously he's LeBron James and, he can tell people when he's ready to make a decision or not because he doesn't have to make a decision right now. Because he has all the time in the world because he's LeBron James, but like it's like some type of like salary cap thing. Because like if he decides to come back, there's basically some type of cap hold that for about $50 million for LeBron since he will make up his mind for the Lakers, and the Lakers I feel like have to make a decision if they're going to be able to bring back some people or bring in some new people because they're going to have to get a new center because DeAndre Ayton isn't that guy during the playoffs for sure. Like he has moments, don't get me wrong, but like they're going to need a legit center for an actual center that LeBron can play off of. Assuming LeBron plays with Luka, and I feel like Austin Reeves might be on the way out, but because I don't know if they're going to be able to afford him. And I feel like if you're going to pay Austin Reeves, you're not going to have a lot of money left over to get the players that you kind of want for your team, right? So yeah, I don't know what to make of the Lakers because I'm sure they could be able. I'm sure there's a way that they could afford to keep all three of those players, but at the same time, like I said, you're not going to be able to create a championship roster. You're gonna make a playoff team roster, but you're just not going to be able to compete in the West with the OKC Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the other teams out there. So yeah, I don't know what else to say about that, but that's all I have. That's all my thoughts on that. How did I get to the Lakers? I already forgot how I got to the Lakers. I went from the Knicks to the Lakers. What else is there? I could say... Okay, so I talked about the Knicks. I talked about the Lakers. Let's see. I guess we could just blatantly talk about the Western Conference Finals and how that's been in series and how there's been a lot of conversations around this whole series about the physicality, the flopping, OKC style of play, this, Wemby, and a lot of narratives going around. So let's kind of break down each kind of storyline. We'll kind of start on the San Antonio side of things. Game one, we saw what Wemby has the potential of doing every single night, just making every shot that you can guard. Like he just has the potential of being the best player in the NBA right now. But there are moments like you saw in Game 5 where he only makes one basket per quarter, going like 4 of like 13 or 15, something like that. It's just something you can't be doing if you're Victor Wembanyama. You can't be having those types of performances in Game 5. In a critical Game 5, you're on the brink of being eliminated now. You can't be passive. You got to be more aggressive. And I feel like he was kind of floating down in the perimeter a lot. I feel like he wasn't like attacking the paint that he should have been. Because he's literally 7'4" feet tall. You should be able to dominate the paint as much as you want. Like he should be able to, if someone misses a three or someone misses a shot, he should be able to crash the paint, grab the board, and put it back up because how tall he is. But he's still a young player. He's going to learn. But if we're expecting him to be already the best player in the world, and he can't have these type of performances, So Victor Wembanyama is going to have to play a lot better tonight for the San Antonio Spurs to win and force a Game 7 back in OKC and not get eliminated. As for like the first 2 games of that series, like Stephon Castle, without DeAndre Fox was very bad, was not great. A lot of turnovers, like 10 or 11 turnovers those first 2 games. Not good. You can't have those turnovers. But obviously he's played a lot better since those first 2 games. Really like what I've seen so far from Stephon Castle. And obviously Dylan Harper has played pretty well, but he also has had his moments. But the one rookie I would say that's kind of had some lows for sure is Carter Bryant. Carter Bryant has had some good minutes in this series, but also has not necessarily played all that well that you would like to have seen from his type of talent for the San Antonio Spurs to be able to capitalize on this series so far. So I feel like there's more that Carter Bryant could be doing. That he's just he's such a young player. He just makes some mistakes out there, which is fun. It's going to happen. You're a rookie. You're a young guy. You're in this type of moment that you're in the Western Conference Finals, playing an Oklahoma City Thunder team that's been there, done that, and they're just going to be who they are. Be aggressive and play OKC ball. And, I mean, otherwise, in that game, as well as Game 4 or that Game 5, there were a lot of interesting calls that were either not made or I was going to say were made, but I don't think made were probably the more of the conversation because there was obviously one controversial call that was made where it clearly went off of Chet's foot and San Antonio was trying to challenge it, but they didn't call a timeout. They didn't do anything. They kind of were just like, hey, we want to challenge it. But everyone's been saying, hey, you have to call a timeout first. You can't just go like this and wave your fingers and say challenge. You have to call a timeout first. Then you can challenge it and be like, hey, I want you to challenge that. And usually most of the times NBA teams now just grab like a sub. Be like, hey, sub. And they'll think about it because then they're going to ask their replay guys behind the bench to be like, hey, should we challenge it or not? And they usually kind of watch the play and then say, yeah, challenge. So then they'll take the timeout and then go, hey, we want to challenge that shit. I want to challenge. You missed the call. That should be our ball. But obviously that wasn't the case, and the refs kind of gave OKC the ball without San Antonio to give a chance to call a timeout. But at the same time, San Antonio should have called a timeout a little bit sooner. But I'm going to blame the refs for that. They should have been able to allow San Antonio to challenge or call a timeout or something like that. But I'm going to give both sides the benefit of blame here. So, anywho, as for OKC, look, I as a guy who has been fairly new to being a fan of a particular team of the Indiana Pacers and having them play Oklahoma City last year, I was kind of on the side of watching them up close. I should say up close, but watching every game of theirs and thinking to myself, I don't think SGA is all that bad. I don't think he's necessarily flopping or anything like that. It's just how was I going to sort of phrase that? Because I feel like when I was watching it last year in the NBA Finals, like I was like, oh, he's flopping, he's doing this, he's doing that. But then I kind of watched it more, and as the series went on, I was like, okay, he's actually not flopping as much. He's just it's just how he kind of, sure, is he trying to exaggerate calls? Absolutely. Just like most NBA players are doing anyways. So it's not like he's not the only one that's doing it. And sure, maybe he's doing it a little bit more egregious or something like that, you could say, but I don't think he's doing it that egregiously. He's not like flailing everywhere and going, oh my God, that's a foul. Please call a foul. Why aren't you calling a foul? And he's not yelling at the refs. He's, I guess he's exaggerating the call. He's trying to get a call, and then if he falls, if it gets called or not, then he's just gonna get up and not say anything. He's not yelling at the refs, which is nice. Like with the team jersey that I'm wearing, Luka on the Lakers, and he's all he does is whine to the refs about not getting a foul call when he either flops or I shouldn't say the word flop, but he flails. Maybe let's say the word flail, or try to get a call. He yells at the refs, goes, "Hey man, where's the call? I was fouled." And the refs go, hey, man, that wasn't a foul. You didn't get fouled. You're just, Luka always tries to whine and complain about calls. And so does, like, LeBron James. So does any top player, any top 15 to 10 player out there in the NBA is going to get some type of call that you either are not going to like or you're going to be like, yeah, that's a foul. And they're going to try and flail or exaggerate or try to sell a call to the refs to tell them, like, hey, I just got fouled. But I understand the conversation with this whole SGA thing about him being a free-throw merchant and all that. But I don't think he's... Look, I'm not trying to defend the guy. I do think he's not necessarily trying to flail or anything. He's not... I wouldn't say he's like a flopper. I think he's just... he's just trying to get... he's trying to... He does a pretty good job of just trying to... when he pump fakes or he tries to get people to get off their feet and he's going to lean in a little bit, he's just using what the rules are given. He's just really good at getting the calls that he's just going to make his defender look silly. Obviously, there was one play in the series where he took a shot and it was in midair, and DeAndre Fox was kind of like, didn't really touch him, but the refs called a foul. Now, is that really on SGA's fault for getting the call, or is that the ref who made the call who thought, oh, hey, that's a foul? So is it really more SGA's fault, or is it just DeAndre Fox put himself in that position to get a foul call on him and not just like, oh, another SGA call? So it's an interesting thing because some people are getting real tired of this OKC style of play, how everybody's kind of on the team kind of either flailing or being aggressive. They're not calling fouls on them, which is like, well, it's kind of like in the NFL. If the defense is super aggressive and they're going to either hold, if the DBs are going to hold the receivers or be physical with them, they're not going to call it on every single time. So it's kind of like how with the Thunder's case, it's basically like that. They're going to foul you probably most 8 times out of 10, but the refs are not going to call it every single time because one, it's playoffs, and more times than not, they're just going to let the guys play. Now they will call fouls, but like I said, they're gonna kind of let the players play, which is what you want to see in the playoffs. Is you want to see let the players play, let them decide games, and not let the refs decide games. Because we all don't want to see refs decide a game. No one ever wants to see that happening in the playoffs for sure. So, like I said, it's definitely a worthy of conversations happening in the NBA with the whole Thunder style of play and SGA and anything like that that's happening with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, as for anything, I guess for hockey, it's kind of been an interesting playoffs. I haven't been able to watch a whole lot of it, but here in the Western Conference Finals, the Las Vegas Knights just swept the Avs, who were kind of arguably a lot of people's minds in the hockey world were kind of the best team. A lot of people were saying that not Oklahoma City, sorry, the Colorado Avalanche were kind of the best team in the league. They're like, oh yeah, it's either going to be the Avs or Carolina. Not so fast, my friend. The Las Vegas Knights have something to say about this. So obviously, I'm not 100% sure on the story, but there was like about 10 games left, and the Vegas Knights decided to go in a different direction and decided to let go of their head coach and promoted a guy within. And since he's been promoted to the head coach, they've been on a tear and have obviously going all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, which is like maybe the second time within the past couple of years that a team has done that in the hockey. I think the Blues did it pretty similarly, where they fired their head coach and they went on a crazy run to win the Stanley Cup Finals not too long ago. So yeah, I mean it's an interesting story that's going on with the Las Vegas Knights for sure. That they just were just like, yeah, you're not the guy. He's the guy now. And they're just going on this crazy run, and they're playing some really excellent hockey. I mean, I was shocked that the Avs were going to get swept. I was like, dang, the Avs just got swept? That's crazy. And I probably should have texted like my cousin's husband and be like, yo, what happened to the Avs? Why'd they get swept? And he would have either one, probably not responded because he was probably going to be like, I don't want to talk about the Avs. Or he would have given me some like long paragraph saying, we just got outplayed, which I think probably was the case. But I think there could have been some injury that happened with the Avs. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to act like I know everything that's going on in the hockey world. I'm just kind of a casual fan. I watch most of the time during the playoffs, and I'll kind of score watch and see what's going on. But like I said, I've been very impressed with the Vegas Golden Knights here on this run that they're on right now. Fairly impressed. And on the other side of things, on the Eastern Conference, you got the Canadians versus Carolina Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes just took a 3-1 lead, I believe, now. Because last night they just played the Canadians. What's the series? And what was it, like 3-1 last night? What was the final score? Let's see, NHL. Yes, Carolina's up 3-1 right now. They'll play tomorrow. Yes, the Canadians. It is the Canadians. Okay. And what I've heard from the what about the oh boy, we got some barking going on. Oh, got a little distracted by the dogs barking. That's something I don't know what they were barking at. Anywho, yes, Carolina's up 3-1. Most likely going to close out. You would think most likely going to close out the series at home against the Canadians, but you never know. Sometimes I think 3-1 leads in hockey are more likely. Comebacks are more likely to happen in hockey than they are in most other sports. I think for some odd reason. So I'm not going to say the Canadians are dead and they have no shot of winning, but it's definitely going to be a tall task because what I've kind of learned and heard about this Carolina team is they're kind of slow pace or not kind of physical, slow. They kind of just muck it up and they're just going to try their best to either win it like 2-0 or 1-0. They don't care how they win. They just want to win. So it's going to be an interesting match. We're going to, assuming if it's going to be Carolina, I think that series is going to go pretty deep. I think it could be like a 6 or 7 game series for sure. Because like I said, you just know, yep, the dogs is officially in the camera shot. This is the dog Piper. That dog right there that you saw on screen, that was Piper. She's kind of a bit of an annoying dog sometimes, but you know, it is what it is. We make things work sometimes. Sometimes she annoys me, and sometimes she doesn't. You know, sometimes she's not that bad of a dog. Other times, you know, and you're just like, boy, how much energy do you have? So, okay. Anything else I should noteworthy to talk? Oh, you know what? Let's talk some MLB. You know, what's going on with MLB? You know, I've noticed in the MLB world that the Cubs have like they lost 10 straight prior to yesterday when they finally broke the streak and got their first win in 11 games, but now they're like 2 and 14, their last 14, I think, something like that. Anywho, I don't even know. I give up on that. Anyway, the Cubs, yeah, they suck. Cubs suck, not as good, but the White Sox, on the hand, now, okay, I should press a sense and say that I don't think that whole division's not any good. I think, honestly, if I had to pick a team that's going to probably come out of the division, it's probably just going to be the Twins, or not the Twins. I was going to say the Twins, but they're not that good. And then I would probably just say the Guardians because they're the ones that's leading the division right now. Let's look up the standings for that division because I knew at one point the Guardians were like at least up by like 5 games or something like that. Let's see, MLB standings. Here we go. The Guardians are up 3.5 games behind ahead of the Red. No, not the Red Sox. Not the Red Sox. The White Sox. The White Sox. So you got the Twins who are 5 games and the Kansas City Royals who have been a very disappointing team so far. Because I have a friend that's a Kansas City Royals fan, and I haven't given enough crap about the Kansas City Royals yet. Because I should be doing that. So you know, here and like, you know what? He's probably listening. Whenever he listens to this episode, he's gonna let him know right now that the Royals suck. Just gonna randomly bring it up in the chat. Hey, Ben. Let me put it in. Let me make sure he sees this. So the Royals suck there. So yes, Ben. Shit, drop my phone. Ben, if you're listening to this episode, and you usually do most of the time, but otherwise, if you don't listen to this particular one, I know you won't listen to I will have known you have not listened to this episode because I'm telling you right now, the Royals suck. I mean, the AL in general is not that good this year, I feel like. You got the West isn't that good. The AL West isn't that good. It's basically just going to be the Yankees or Rays, I feel like, at this point. It's going to come out of the AL because the Rays are at least 34-19. You got the Yankees who are 34-22. Everybody else just kind of just are either mid or suck. It's crazy because, like, if there are a lot more better teams in the NL than there are in the AL. You got the Braves, who have probably been the Braves and the Dodgers have probably been the best teams in the NL for sure. Then you got the Phillies, who sucked at the beginning of the season, fired their manager, and then with this new guy that they have, they've been playing some better baseball lately. The Mets suck. I know that the Mets suck. The Brewers have been the best team in the NL Central. I mean, the NL Central is probably the toughest division in all of baseball, for sure. You got the Brewers. The Cardinals have been frisky good, and then you got the Cubs, who they suck, but they had like 2 10-game win streaks, and now they're coming back down to earth. Now, granted, they do have some injuries with the pitching staff and all that other stuff, but I feel like they just haven't been able to get any hits. Not a whole lot of offense happening for them. As for the Reds, they had a good start, and I feel like they're kind of just mid right now. You got the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are going to be not as bad as they usually are. They're going to be like decent, so we'll see how that works. How many teams out of this division will come out and represent the NL in the playoffs? As for the West, it's basically the Dodgers because everybody else is kind of good, but like the Giants aren't good. The Rockies are, the Rockies. They're not any good. The Padres, I just know they still spend a lot of money and don't get a whole lot of results in the playoffs. And then you have the Diamondbacks, who not too long ago were in the World Series, and I feel like the past couple of years they haven't been as good, but now they might be good again. So otherwise, that's pretty much it for baseball. Anything else? Okay, I've kind of thought about, since we've kind of talked about all the sports that needed to be talked about, I guess, I've thought about doing some just random like reviews on shows and movies, and like I said, I was thinking about doing some like sport or golf content as well. So I was kind of like thinking about branching out and kind of see what other kind of content I can make with this show and channel and stuff like that. See if there's fun. A little bit of malfunction here. I accidentally stepped on my cord and accidentally unplugged my microphone, so we're back. Okay, like I said, now we've kind of talked about, they hit a bump. Okay, that's what you get for sitting outside. You hear a lot of noises with all the traffic that's going on that street, since we're nearby a road. Anyways, I was gonna kind of talk about all the content I could be making with this channel and this on the show here. Thinking about like doing like an episode where I review a movie or review a show that I watched or something like that, or like I said, making more golf content. I'm for sure thinking about doing some golf content for sure. I think that's priority number one, I think, or at least what I'm expecting to do. Okay, so sorry, I was distracted by the softball game that I have on this TV here. As the Tennessee's up 5-3 on Texas right now. As for, jeez Louise, we almost had another cord incident with this dog. Okay, so yeah, I got a lot of ideas that I'm thinking about this summer with just making more content, trying to do things for the summer and trying to get this thing rolling. I feel like because I'm trying to figure out this summer as well if I need to, once I, like I said, was with schooling, because I officially graduated from a college. I fairly got a degree. I haven't got the official paper thing yet, but it's coming in the mail soon, sometime the next week or two. So I should be expecting that. Should get a big old paper that says my name on it saying graduated. So I was pumped about that. I was like, yay, I finally did it. And after so long of having to get, I just had to it took me a while to get this to graduate from college, because I had to get do a math class, and I was not real thrilled about doing the math class because I was not interested in doing the math class. I was like, I just not do it. But they told me I had to do it to graduate. So I did it once, didn't do well. Then I took a break, then went back to it, and I finally got the grade that I needed, and I graduated. So you're looking at an official graduate from a college. So yeah, now the next step is to kind of figure out if I need to kind of do my own thing, kind of just do what I'm doing right now for potential career-wise, or should I go back to school this fall to a bigger university and figure it out, I'll have to see what things are. What are you guys staring at? There's nobody here. Is there somebody here? I don't think there's anybody here. Or are you just staring at the door just because I was going to say there should be nobody here. Weird dogs, I tell you. Let's see. Anything else I should sort of mention that needs to be mentioned? Let's see. Well, I guess since I was talking about movies and shows, I'll kind of wait on that. I'll wait on that. I feel like that deserves its own thing. I was going to talk about a show I've been watching, but I feel like that deserves its own type of episode or segment for it. So yeah, anything else sports-wise I should mention? I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. All right, let's do a little. Let's see. Like I said before, just randomly, it's the top of the seventh. Tennessee's up to bat and hit, and the left fielder for Texas caught it, and Tennessee scores. Sacrifice fly, but now we got it out. We got an out on third. So now we got 2 outs. Runners on first and second for Tennessee, but a runner scored. Or no, was that 3 outs? So we got runner scored. We got 2 outs, sacrifice fly, and then so there must have been 1 out, sacrifice fly out, and then when the outfielder tried to throw it to home, he didn't get that person out. Runner scored, and then threw it to third, and now that person's out. So now it's 3 outs. Are they reviewing something now? Are they checking something? Because there's a conversation being had with some refs, or I should say umps, with the umps right now. Oh, he's talking. Looks like they're going to challenge. Looks like it's Texas. Oh, Texas is challenging. The runner did not leave early or something like that. So they're challenging the rule. And, well, yeah, and it looks like the batter didn't leave early. So I think that's a good challenge, at least when I'm watching on this replay here. I have the TV muted, so I wouldn't have anything else you would hear. Oh, here we go. I'm going to try to read his lips here. Maybe turn on some captions. Okay. Now I can't end the episode now. I have to let you guys know what happened. I mean, you guys either have already seen this or really don't care. This is some great podcasting, having to talk. Wait, here we go. We got a ruling. Is he out? Hold on. He's trying to let everybody know he's about to talk. Okay, he's talking. Okay, so under review, confirm the runner from leaving third left on time. That he Texas first challenge. So, okay, yeah. Okay. It was confirmed. The runner did not leave early. All right, anything else should be mentioned on today's episode? Or on this episode, whenever this episode gets published? Let's see, anything else? Like I said before, this is a really nice day out. A little breeze. I feel like I should do more podcasts outside. More podcasting outside would be great. I mean, sure, maybe for the audience, maybe like listening back to it, I'd be like, I should probably not do any more podcasting outside, but I feel like this has been pretty good so far. Not a whole lot of noises. It's been pretty chill with all that. I'm trying to think anything else that should be noteworthy. You know what? F it. Here's a couple of the at least two shows that I've watched so far, or at least have not finished yet, but I've started and they're in the process of finishing. I've started watching season 2 of Running Point on Netflix, the basketball show of Kate Hudson. Started that, on the process of finishing that, and then I don't know how I got hooked onto this show, but it's cute, it's romantic, it's funny sometimes. The off-campus show, don't know how I got hooked onto it. Saw it on Prime, accidentally clicked, kind of just said F it, because I've heard people talked about it on social media. I said F it, I'll give it a try, see what I think of it. I have fairly enjoyed it. Now, this is, most guys like me wouldn't be watching this show, and the guys that are going to listen to this episode will be like, Chan, why the fuck are you watching this show? It's for chicks, dude. I'm like, look, I don't disagree, but I don't care. I have enjoyed it. Guys can't enjoy chick shows sometimes, What's no harm, no foul, I say. So I will maybe do a recap of that show on the YouTube or something like that. We'll see. I'll do a recap of it, kind of give you my thoughts on it, and then do the same thing with Running Point or any other type of shows or movies that I've watched this summer. Kind of make it a segment for a summer segment thing for the summer, things to talk about, since we're going to be kind of in the dog days and there going to be isn't a whole lot of sports besides baseball and obviously the WNBA. So we're going to have to find things to talk about for sure. All right. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for today's episode. I appreciate anybody that's listening to this episode for sure, because why wouldn't you be listening to my shows? Because these are all great stuff that I'm posting, great content as always. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to all the audio platform that this show is on: Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, whatever you're listening to this show typically. Or you can find us on YouTube. Make sure you type in the Tweet Show Podcast on YouTube and you'll find us right there. As well as you go follow us on social media. We have an Instagram page, we have TikTok, and we have Twitter. I'll try and see if I can put them right here on the YouTube thing, just little banners saying this is where you need to go follow. So follow us on all the social media platforms that we have: Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Those are the 3 main ones. Unlikely to do Facebook, but who knows? So yeah, like I said, appreciate everybody listening. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Tell your friends about the show, about how great this show is. It's so great. Just a wonderful, wonderful show. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time.